Karl Swensson is one of the most self-effacing woodworkers you'll ever meet. He's also one of the most accomplished. For decades now, he's quietly lived in a row house in Baltimore and worked wood in a modest shop in the basement. He's something of a homebody. Yet his skill and passion for woodworking have connected him to people and craft traditions from around the world. He describes himself as an experimental woodworker, and he's always looking for something different and challenging to try. In the early 1980s, abandoning a career as a tennis teacher, he served a sort of apprenticeship with Makoto Imai, a Japanese temple builder who was building a tea house at a Zen center north of San Francisco. Swensson never actually worked under Imai or directly received training from him, but for a year and a half, Swensson simply went to the worksite and observed, and then practiced and practiced and practiced. Moving back east to Baltimore, Swensson applied his developing deftness with Japanese hand tools to various carpentry and furniture projects. The quality of his work was such that when the architect and Zen teacher Paul Disco was creating an extraordinary complex of Japanese buildings in California as a home for Larry Ellison, the founder of Oracle, Swensson was asked to build doors for one of the buildings. He built the doors of old-growth spruce in his Baltimore basement and shipped them to California. In the mid-1990s, Swensson was also invited to Kofu, Japan, to make 8 doors for a new temple based on one from the 13th century. Swensson's experience there was not all Om and Zen. The master carpenter and the priest in charge of the job repeatedly cut his pay, reneged on promises to provide funds for an assistant, and found other ways to humiliate him. But true to his word and his devotion to woodwork, Swensson worked late into the night to get the complex doors finished on time and impeccably. Swensson's monk-like devotion to his craft is not limited to Japanese woodworking. For a time, he worked building tracker pipe organs with their complex wooden linkages connecting the keys to the pipes. He also has delved deeply into green woodworking, building chairs in the Appalachian ladderback style. He's also explored Scandinavian design in pieces like this rocker, which calls to mind the work of that patron saint of chair makers, the Danish designer Hans Wegner. Swensson is also adept at Western cabinet making, having built a number of handsome case pieces in a refined arts and crafts style. Through his teaching at Drew Langsner's country workshops in western North Carolina, Swensson learned of the Swiss craftsman Rudi Kohler and became fascinated with traditional Swiss cooperage. The seemingly humble craft of building Swiss milking buckets became a years-long obsession for Swensson. It wasn't long before Swensson could reliably produce the tapered, beveled staves he needed, but a method for consistently bending the interlocking hoops without breakage eluded him through scores of attempts. At last, he found a solution by what he calls pre-limbering, steaming, soaking, and then bending the hoop to a spiral much tighter than the final shape, and then bending it back just as tightly the other way. True to form, as soon as he developed the method, Swensson began teaching it. Once he mastered the traditional Swiss design, Swensson went on to create coopered vessels all his own. Some are oval, faceted, asymmetrical, and some that have a double arrow lock in place of the traditional single one. He's even built one bowl with staves that twist, doing all the spiral coopering with hand tools. Swensson's favorite of these coopered vessels? It remains the one that started his quest, the humble Swiss milking bucket. After all this exploration, it's hard to say what Karl Swensson will be working on next. All I know for sure is, whatever it is he makes next, I want to be there to see it.